I think it's the most difficult slot of this conference before lunch. So I try to do it as fast as I can so the next panel would end up and we can all go to it. The topic of, that we're talking about is monetization. Around 3 years ago, Apple first introduced a new ecosystem for the mobile world, where instead of basically mobile carriers controlling a walled garden of mobile internet portals, they introduced a new ecosystem, and this new ecosystem involves a distribution model, a payment mechanism, and also in the last year, an advertising solution. The ecosystem that Apple introduced, I think, collapsed everything we knew about mobile, but the new world, as we called it in this industry, is not yet there. And what I try to give you is a short brief about where the industry stands, what are the challenges that the mobile developers are facing, what are the opportunities for merchants that would like to see how to monetize mobile, and where this world is heading. Sorry. Basically, in the last 2 years, after Apple introduced the new ecosystem, there's a new term coming to this industry, which is smartphones. In the last 3 years, smartphones were coming to the market, and in 3 years, around 33% of the industry in the US became a holder of a smartphone. Smartphone today is, like Charlie mentioned, it's a PC in your hand. PC in your hand with the power of processing like our PC at home had around 3 or 4 years ago. And with this, with a smartphone today, you can browse the internet. 40% of all American mobile phone holders are browsing and using applications from the mobile phone. They're accessing the mobile phone they're accessing the internet from the mobile phone. An average user of a smartphone is spending an hour each day on applications and mobile browsing. In 2 or 3 years, there would be more time spent online on mobile than on the PC. This phenomena, of course, made all of the players around looking on this market and beginning to produce applications. Today, there are hundreds of thousands of applications available in the market, and around 2 billion applications are downloaded each month from Google Store and from the Apple market. So 2 billion new applications, 2 billion new downloads. Around a year ago, the number was around 1 billion. So it's a 100% growth from last year to this year in the amount of applications that people are downloading. So now the question and the main issue is how you monetize it. So first of all, we must say that it's a two-horse game. There is today a lot of operating systems out there in the market, but there is 2 leading ones. The main operating system in terms of monetization was and still the iPhone, the iOS. Today, most of the revenues are coming from iOS. Just to give you a glimpse about the numbers, in 2010, applications generated around $2 billion in revenues on iOS and around $200 million in Android. So it's 1 to 10 between Android ecosystem, Android operating system, and the iOS. The other operating systems that are available in the market, BlackBerry, Windows Phone, Symbian, are there, but in terms of monetization, usage, it's close to nothing. On every 20 applications that are downloaded on iOS, that an average user is downloading on iOS, average Android user is downloading 10, and an average BlackBerry user is downloading 1. So basically, you can say that you can focus, if you're a developer, you can focus on the two-horse race, and the two-horse race is definitely iOS and Android. So if you're wondering where is your customer and how's your customer is really browsing, the answer is with his mobile phone. So as I mentioned, it's a two-horse game, and in this two-horse game, there is the main question: whether would it be a paid world or it's a free world? And there is the in-between, which is the freemium. And as we see today, the in-between is what's working. 52% of iPhone revenues are generated from in-app purchase, meaning that the user downloaded an application for free, he saw inside the application something that made him pay. This something could be a premium version, but as we see it, 70% of the reason for the user to click and to pay the $1 or the $2 or even the $5 is disposable virtual goods, like fuel inside a race, like ammunition in a game of shooting. 70% of the money spent is not for upgrading your application to premium, is not for paying for a premium version, it's just for something that you need to buy, and it's disposable. So if you're a developer of an application, you need to pay attention to this figure. In the medicine industry, in the last 10 or 15 years, companies that are producing machines for hospitals are monetizing basically not from selling the equipment, but from selling disposable that you need for this machine. And I think that the mobile industry is coming through this route of paying for something that is disposable. An average price for a transaction in the App Store is around $1.40. Last year it was $2, which means that prices are going down, but of course the revenues are going up because of the volume. 90% of those $2 billion that I spoke about them earlier in the App Store are coming from premium downloads or in-app payment. Only 10% is coming from advertising. We expect the advertising share to grow in the next 3 years, and I'll elaborate about it later. What is also important is the figure that in-app purchase will grow more than 600% by next year. On the payment methods, there is a full ecosystem which is closed garden of Apple. In this ecosystem, the only payment solution today that is available is Apple Payment System, Apple Clearing, and basically you can connect your iTunes account to PayPal or to a credit card. In the outside of the Apple, it's an unknown world, and basically there's no standard yet. And what we see is that when you're using carrier-based billing meaning one-click payment to your mobile account, the conversion is 10 times more than any other method available today in the market. beside the standard payment, taking this dollar from the user, there is the alternative payment. On the standard payment, basically the user buys something inside the application. On the alternative, and the monies go to the developer. In the alternative payment, the user wants to take something from the application, then comes an advertiser. The advertiser is giving an action, and I'll elaborate about which actions are there, and the advertiser paying for this transaction, and the money goes again to the developer. Possible alternative payments on mobile are today focused on three basic alternatives. The first one is incentivized downloads of other applications. The leading company in this market was Tapjoy around a few months ago. Apple decided to block incentivized downloads on the App Store market. It was something between April to May. At that month, Tapjoy generated $8 million only from incentivized downloads, meaning it was the main way of monetizing on mobile. Incentivize is still working on the Google ecosystem. The second way of monetize of alternative payment on mobile is submit your mail to a service like a Groupon service, like other leads generation service. And the third is watch a video. On top of it, there is a lot of more options like vote, like on Facebook, like answering a poll. But basically, the main three ways that are generating most of the revenues on alternative payment on mobile is incentivized downloads of other apps, submitting the mail, and watching a video. Basically, as we see today, alternative payment brings 50% more conversion to an application that installed this way of monetization beside the regular payment. Mobile advertising. Mobile advertising, since I'm in this industry for the last 10 years, in every conference that I'm attending, everyone says that mobile advertising is still 3 years ahead of us. And I think that today it's still 3 years ahead of us until the mobile advertising would be a real monetization option. But we begin to see the curve in the last 12 months. This year, mobile advertising will grow around 100% year to year to 2010. And what we see in the US, the estimation is that the revenues only from apps, from advertising inside apps, would be today, this year around $1 billion. So it means that it's not yet a market, but it's coming to be a market, and it's going to be a market in the next 3 years. If we are looking if you want to do the metrics to understand, I have an app and I want to understand how much ads I can see in each session, what we see that when a user opens an application, on an average basis, he sees around 4.5 ads on the session. If you want to add some more numbers to this to understand the business case, the average click on mobile costs around 10 cents. Of course, in the US and Western Europe, not on third world. The average CTR that we see on mobile today is around 1%. Around 1% of the impressions ending up in a click. And what we see, and I think this is an amazing figure, is after the click, when you want the user to pay for something, if it's an iPhone device, there is 500% more conversions than on Android. So the willingness to pay and the ability to give your credit card or to pay for a service on an iPhone device is 5 times more today than on Android device. Of course, part of it is because the Apple is a better ecosystem in terms of qualification of the applications, in terms of the availability of payment methods, and the maturity. Apple ecosystem is much more out there. And also, the Apple ecosystem has the tablet. The iPad, 80% of the tablet markets today is the iPad, and that's included in the iOS. And of course, on the tablet, the conversions are much, much better. Another thing that today in this market, there are few ad networks playing. The largest one was called AdMob. It had been bought by Google around 2 years ago. The second player is in Mobi. The third player is Millennial Media. And there is another 3 to 5 players in this market. What we see today, that on average basis, the fill rate that those networks are bringing, if you just put one network, is around 50%. So 50% of the inventory is unsold. The problem is that the inventory of mobile advertising is growing rapidly. The advertisers are not yet there, especially the brands. The brands today are doing tests, doing special projects, but there's not really a lot of money going into this industry from the brands. Apple, that bought a mobile ad network of itself and launched around a year ago their own network called iAd. Basically, their approach was to bring on board the premium advertisers. So they put a minimum slot of $1 million for an advertiser that would like to do a campaign on the iAd. After a few months, they came to a conclusion that the industry is not there. They reduced the price, and today I think the minimum is around $100,000, and if you're negotiating, it's even less. So even Apple, with all of the power and the ability to attract advertisers and to force them to get into this system, not yet bringing the results. And without the premium brands that are advertising, this ecosystem won't be there. We see them starting. We see them coming. I think that the mobile advertising business, comparing to the internet, is somewhere around 10 years ago. So it's around the end of the 90s, the beginning of 2000, in terms of maturity of this industry. What we see is the next wave, and the tablets that are also a kind of a mobile device are really pushing this industry toward this, is that the merchants are getting into the mobile space. What brought them in is localized offers. Localized offers that led by Groupon, led by companies like Foursquare offering local-based offers, Yelp. All of those companies are bringing to the table local merchants that are willing to sell a discount, a coupon, something on the mobile for part of the population, for a discount that is available only on a time limit. And this is what drives today this industry towards bringing the merchants on board. PayPal estimate that mobile commerce will reach around $2 billion this year. Last holiday season, on December, someone actually spent $100,000 on a jewelry using his mobile phone. He actually paid by his credit card $100,000 for buying on his mobile phone. So if we try to wrap it all in, how can you monetize your app? And if you're a merchant, how would you like to go into this game? First of all, our first advice is when you're building your app, think of it as a free application with an in-app item inside. Most of the revenues will generate it from giving your customer a taste of the product, a few days of trial, something for free, engage him, and then making him buy. If it's possible, and it's possible today on the, only on the Android ecosystem, use mobile carriers billing. Mobile carriers billing, of mostly outside of the States, bringing much more conversion. Around 50% of the mobile subscribers in the world don't have credit card. In India, on Philippines, they are large consumers of your product. In China, but they don't have credit card. They don't have any payment method that we know. All they have is their mobile phone, the mobile carrier bill, which they are paying for him on a prepaid basis. They are buying few dollars, charging their phone, and if you want them to spend those few dollars on your game, you need a carrier-based billing. Add a banner inside the application for the free version is a good thing. It's not hurting the conversion to pay, and you can monetize from the 70 or 80% of the customers that no way will convert and pay you the dollar. Add an offer wall. Offer wall, a contextual offer wall, is something that is also important inside an application. This is another way of doing business. It's not cannibalizing anything. It's just giving a contextual offers to your customer from outside merchants on the application. So basically, if you want to monetize mobile, there's no one bullet that you should shoot. There is a lot of tools that need to be managed carefully in between them, work on the balance, making sure that everything is working in order for you to generate money from a mobile application. We in Logia have all those solutions for the developers. We have today 3 suites of services. The Logia Pay, which is a full payment solution for mobile, which includes carriers billing, includes PayPal, includes Plymouth in order to charge people in other payment methods which are not carrier and PayPal, and includes a large variety of alternative payments inside. Our payment system is doing optimization in real time between all of those components, making sure that the users convert to something. Logia Ad is a full solution for mobile advertising. Our solution is doing optimization between all of those mobile ad networks available in the market, and adding that, our targeted Mobi, which is our third part, our affiliate network offers. So if you're a developer wanting to monetize on mobile, we have all the solution for you. If you're a merchant, we want to go mobile and needs a mobile payment solution or a distribution, we are there also for you. And to end up, 2 words about ourselves. Logia is a 7-year-old player in this mobile space. We are 130 employees, offices in US, India, Philippines. We know also the other markets which are not the US. We are working with the leading mobile carriers in the world, around 50 of them, and with the top developers of this industry. Thank you.